your biggest fear is one day you'll have a client meeting and you'll have SARG stuck in your teeth. I mean, this was never a fear for me before, but it now is, so thank you very much. Hello, how are you? It's your girl Simranjeet Mann here, and I am a Simran who has tested positive for the good old Rona. I think my variant is the Omicron one, because of the symptoms that I'm displaying. Thankfully, I think the worst of my symptoms have passed, but I'm still self-isolating for the full 10 days. And during isolation, I got really bored, and I asked you all to provide assumptions about me, and you all did not disappoint. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight into these assumptions, because I'm literally dying to say whether they're true or false or not. The first one that came in, the first assumption was, it's exceptionally hard for you to think of yourself as worthy to apply and try to succeed. I would say I still try, and I still try to succeed, but while I'm trying to do that, sometimes I do get that self-doubt, but that's decreased a lot over the years. So I'd say overall I would say that this assumption of being exceptionally hard for me to think of myself as worthy is false. There were quite a few comments about, or assumptions about my hair, about whether I'd cut it short, whether I'd keep it long. This assumption, so never cutting my hair short, is true. I have such an attachment towards my hair, and as a Sikh individual, keeping hair is part of my religion, and I intend to keep that going for the rest of my life. Another assumption is that I support Arsenal. I don't, but I'm not really a massive football fan, if I'm honest with you. But I'm not gonna lie, I used to really be a massive fan of Manchester United when Ronaldo used to play. And then he left, and then I kind of lost interest, but now Ronaldo's back on United. I think I am more or maybe of a United fan. The next assumption is that I am rolling in money. No, because if I was, you wouldn't see me, y'all. I'd be on some kind of beach in the Bahamas right now. You wouldn't hear from me, I would be gone. But I wouldn't say I'm rolling in it, no, because if I was rolling in it, I wouldn't have the worries that I have about saving that I do right now. I do have some worries about, being able to afford certain things. There was quite a few assumptions about my upbringing. So the Lawyer Spot, I would definitely recommend checking out the Lawyer Spot, by the way, for their stationery. But they said that I had lenient parents, and another person assumed that I had a sheltered upbringing. And I would say the assumption that's correct in this situation is more on the sheltered upbringing. So I'm a brown girl, I'm the oldest brown girl in an Asian household, of course it's going to be more on the sheltered side rather than the lenient side. I would say my parents are quite like the traditional Asian parents that you get. They've gotten a lot more lenient now than they have when I was younger. So for example, some examples of traditionally strict things were the things that when I was at parties at school, for example, either I wouldn't be allowed to go to house parties and stuff when I was at school, or I would have to leave at 9 or 10 p.m, which is so jarring because that is literally when the party's starting. But those are some examples of things where I wasn't allowed to do certain things that other kids may have been allowed to do because my parents were more on the stricter side. So yeah, I definitely had a sheltered upbringing growing up. Shannon Tong, definitely check out her channel. She assumed that I was a rebel in school. I would say I was a massive geek at school, so this assumption isn't entirely correct. The only detention I ever had in school was when I was chatting so much I forgot to give in my exercise book or my homework or something. He let me off once, and then the second time I forgot to hand it in again, and then he gave me a blue slip. So the blue slip in school was detention after school for 25 minutes. Pink slip is when you're actually in trouble, but blue slip was kind of a initial detention. So that's the only detention I had in school, and as you can see, it's for a proper geeky and a little bit harsh reason. I remember I got the detention slip and I just cried so much because I was so scared, and I was like, oh my god, I never get in trouble, and I was scared to tell my parents. So I wouldn't say I was a rebel in school at all. I was a massive geek. Another assumption about the wedding is I'm going to have a massive wedding. I mean, Asians, we have massive weddings. It depends on your... Actually, you know what? Have I even told YouTube? I don't think I've told you lot on YouTube that I've gotten engaged. I got engaged in October, but yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. I announced it on Instagram, but I realised I'm not actually talked about it on YouTube. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, but this is the first time you're hearing of this, I got engaged, which is fun. I quite a few assumptions about my dancing, that I'm a really great dancer. I'd say, you know what, I do pride myself on my dancing. I know how to get down, so I mean, in terms of dance moves, I do the running man, I do the moonwalk, I know how to shuffle, I know how to cut shapes, I know how to do bhangra. So I would say, yeah, I'm a good dancer. No, I wouldn't say I'm like amazing. Like, you should see my YouTuber friend Ranveer. She is an absolutely amazing dancer. Like, she is next level. So I'm not on that level. I'm like, I dance better when I'm by myself and no one's watching me, basically. Quite a few comments about being a girly girl, like the fact that I'm a girly girl at heart, or like I dislike girly girls. So I wouldn't dislike someone just because they're a girly girl. And in terms of whether I am a girly girl at heart, I wish I was, sis. I wish I was. I just can't keep it up. I literally had about from September to December, that's the length of time I kept acrylics in, and after that I was just done with them, and I'm happy with my nails just being clapped like this. It's just so much more convenient. My friend Harsh has said that the only thing I eat is roti. That assumption is correct. Every evening for dinner I have roti. I have to have roti at least like once a day. I love it so much. I'd say my body is like 75% roti at this stage, so yeah. Oh, this one's a bit cheeky, that I smoke weed and vibe to pop smoke. I mean, obviously for the first one I'm gonna say no. Do I want my career taken away? No. FYI, I don't, but I do vibe to pop smoke. Pop smoke is great. This one's funny. 100% uses Vatika amla oil on hair. You know, I wish I did, but it's a bit spenny. I find Vatika oil, like amla oil, a bit spenny. Like they know they've got a monopoly in the market and they're really kind of upping the prices. I mean, the oil that I use is castor oil, I use almond oil, I use coconut oil, I use olive oil, and I mix that up, and then I squirt a few squirts of Bi-Erim. So I put a little bit of that into the mixture that I have, but I do want to start using argan oil more, and I want to also use this other one, but I've forgotten the name, but I want to use more oils. I'm a person that my friends can rely on. I'd like to think this assumption is true, and if any of my friends are watching this and you feel like I am not, then please let me know. But I am one of those individuals where if someone does come to me with any kind of advice, or they need any help, or they need me to just do a favour for them, I feel like I am quite reliable in that sense, and I will take it seriously. It's something that, you know, there have been a few instances in the past where I've realised that I've not been as active as I could, because I get so swept up with all these different things that I've got going on in my life. But I have made it such a priority near this year especially to try and make sure that I am there for my friends, be more of a reliable, trustworthy friend. Even, for example, in my group chat sometimes, because I listen to so much Stephen Bartlett, like they sometimes refer to me as a therapist in the group chat. I'd like to think that I do give good relationship advice. Ooh, this one's quite deep. Funny, but you can't express your love fully for all of your loved ones. I'd say this is a true assumption because I like to show love in different ways, and I think my love language is gift giving, and that's how I show it. But when it comes to actually expressing it, sometimes I really do struggle with certain people because I just get a bit shy about it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be moist. This one is 100% true. It has love for Asian culture, 100%. I've got so much love for Asian culture, especially Punjabi culture, but Asian culture as a whole I have so much love for. I can act confident when you're actually not all the time. True, 100%. I am a massive believer in faking it till you make it, and there are situations where I just have to try and put on a front to be confident, just for myself really, and to kind of psych myself into feeling like, yes, I can do this, I do belong, and this is great, I can do this. Career in Law, yay! I did a recent exclusive interview for Career in Law, so please do check them out on their Instagram page, and they said that I seem to be pretty chill. I'd like to say I am quite a chill person, if I'm honest with you. But on the other hand, someone did mention, and someone did send the assumption that I am a little short-tempered, but not to new people. What gets me really, really angry, and I'd say I'm more hot-tempered rather than short-tempered. So short-tempered is when I get like angry pretty quickly, like almost like a switch. But hot-tempered for me is, it has to take quite a few things to kind of build up inside me for me to then finally just like lose my plot and just get really, really angry. It has to kind of like build up inside me. The anger has to like simmer and boil like some dal in my belly for a little bit, and then suddenly just like erupts like a volcano. I just get really angry. But that hot temperedness only lasts for around like a short period of time, and then I get really sad and like tearful afterwards. So like it's like a really hot temper that I have. But other than that, I am really chilled, and I think like my hot temperedness is something that I'm trying to work on. One way in which I'm trying to work on it is I'm trying to go to my happy place. So when I can feel that building up inside me, I'm trying to just be like, okay, think about something that makes you really, really happy. And my happy place right now is the moment when my fiance proposed to me in Paris. So I always try and think of that, and it always makes me smile. So that is my happy place, and I think that's one way in which I deal with trying to not get to that hot-tempered place that I get to. Shark diving, bungee jumping, or skydiving wouldn't scare you. This assumption is false. All three of those things would scare the living daylights out of me. Shark diving, because obviously there's sharks around. Bungee jumping and skydiving, I wouldn't say I'm scared of heights, but I'm scared of drops. So for example, have you ever been on Detonator in Thorpe Park, the ride that goes all the way up and then back down? I'm terrified of those drops. I hate the feeling of your stomach being in your mouth. So these things like bungee jumping and skydiving, no, not for me. Of all your accomplishments, you are most proud of attaining your training contract at WBD. I'd say this is an accomplishment that's really up there, 100%, but I think the fact that because I've gained my training contract now in 2019, that's 2 years ago. So albeit that was my biggest accomplishment at that time, I've had 2 years to kind of think of other accomplishments and build other accomplishments. And I'd say so far my biggest accomplishment is maintaining and creating this YouTube channel. It's been a good test of consistency for me. And yeah, I'm just so proud that I've been able to keep something going for so long. So I'd say my YouTube channel is my biggest accomplishment so far. It would be difficult to give up coffee. And I think someone else also gave an assumption about tea. A bit of a fun fact, I don't drink tea or coffee ever, if I'm honest with you. The last time I drank coffee was in my final year at uni. I used to drink tea a lot then as well, just to kind of stay awake. But I didn't like the feeling that it gave me. I'd rather much rely on a natural energy of, you know, having a good sleep routine and then waking up and not having to rely on something to feel awake. So yeah, I don't drink tea and I don't drink coffee. Lawyer Spot, I love the assumptions you've given, so thank you so much. Definitely, again, look out for their stationery. I think they do absolutely amazing work. So sophisticated and elegant stationery. I love it. So the Lawyer Spot said, you would go back to being 18 if you could. No, I wouldn't. I actually really much prefer life post-university, because I think when I was 18, I was still trying to figure out a lot about myself, my identity, who I was as an individual. I wasn't really earning my own money. I didn't really have much independence. I was quite naive. Whereas in my 20s now, so I'm 24 at the moment, I've got so much peace. I've understood I don't obviously understand to a full extent. I'm not like 50, but I've gotten a lot wiser. I've kind of prioritized things a bit better. I've met some amazing people. I feel like my circle of friends and family are absolutely amazing, and they're the kind of people that I want to spend the rest of my life with. This one's really deep. So you like surrounding yourself with people, but sometimes even when you're surrounded by love, you feel empty. I wouldn't say this is true. I think I'm very much an in-the-moment kind of person, and I've never been in a situation where I've been surrounded by so much love and I felt so wholesome but so empty. I don't think I've ever felt like that, and I really hope I don't. It seems like such a sad feeling to have. Your biggest fear is one day you'll have a client meeting and you'll have SARG stuck in your teeth. I mean, this was never a fear for me before, but it now is, so thank you very much. I always think you would be super tall in person. Out of a lot of kind of girl groups or girl friendships that I have in the circles, I am one of the tallest usually. But in terms of height, I'm not that tall, I don't think. But for an Asian girl, I feel like I am. I don't know. Basically, my height is 5'5.5" /5'6". I'm superstitious. No, I'm not. I'm not really that superstitious. I try not to be. There are moments where I think it's because of a cultural thing where I'm thinking, oh my God, I must not do this on a certain day. But I don't really see where that comes from. I think it's like I'm just not superstitious at all. I don't believe in zodiac signs. I don't believe in like the 11.11 thing. I don't even know what that's about. Yeah, I don't really believe in stuff like that. But if you believe in it, like that's calm. Like, you know, that's what you do. But I personally don't. Assumption, I don't want to be a lawyer forever. This is a difficult one to answer because I do enjoy what I do right now. But when I think about, for example, whether I'd want to be a partner or whether I'd want that significant kind of client responsibility, I'm not sure. I think I will stay in law for a significant amount of time, definitely. But I'm not sure whether I'd do it forever. So I'd say, yeah, so far that assumption is correct. You can't be truly candid about your work life online because your firm's always watching. Yeah, I'd say to an extent it's true because I can't just make a video of, oh my God, guys, I'm having such a bad day today with this colleague's an absolute mare and this person's that and this client's like, you know, I can't do that. because confidentiality, because I don't want to ruin my reputation in the firm. I wouldn't say my firm's always watching, but yeah, like they're super supportive. They keep in touch with what I do. If any of my colleagues are watching this video right now, hi. I've tried to be as honest and authentic as I can. I try and share as much experiences as I can, but especially as a lawyer as well, like I can't talk about as openly about everything, not only because my firm is not watching, but also because of confidentiality. I do not want to breach confidentiality in the stuff that I do. That would be the worst thing ever. An assumption is I've made some big mistakes during my first TCC. Yes, I have. A big mistake that I made was I sent documents to the wrong person, thinking it was one client, but it was actually another client. So I basically breached confidentiality. That was like my biggest mistake that I'd made during my training contract in my first seat, and it was absolutely horrible. I've put in so much practical steps to ensure that the same mistake doesn't happen again, and I'm so glad that this happened in my first seat as well, so I can say I'm sorry, I'm just a first seater, like have some mercy on me. And I was able to kind of just, yeah, like everyone was so supportive and nice about it. I didn't get shouted at, so it was all good. An assumption is I like scented candles. I do love me a scented candle. My work friend Sophie says I've got long toenails. I mean, I don't have long toenails, girl. Like, I can't even keep my long hands. I'm not about to show my feet on camera because then someone might think that I want to sell feet pics, and I don't want to do that. So, Sophie, what I'll do is I'll show you my feet at work. So we'll see about that. I will literally land up on your desk and I'll put my feet on it and you can analyse for yourself. This one is really, really insightful. So it takes you aback when someone is better than you at something. It does. I wouldn't say it takes me aback. No, it does take me aback sometimes. Yeah, I'm super competitive and I wouldn't ever wish badly on them. I wouldn't ever have any sense of jealousy or like act upon that jealousy or any way. I don't know how to describe it. I think it's more of like a wistful feeling rather than feeling like, yeah, but then I wouldn't, taken aback, I'm not sure how I feel about that wording. I am competitive, and what I'm trying to do more is be more competitive with myself rather than being competitive with other people. But the thing is, with this competitive nature that I have, it has pushed me towards doing things that I wouldn't have done before because I like feeling like I'm out of my comfort zone. So yeah, I would say that one's partially true. I think that's everything. Those are all of my assumptions. Hopefully this video has been a bit more, I guess, chatty, a bit funny, hopefully. You've gained a bit more knowledge about me. I answered all of these assumptions honestly, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you've got any other ideas and if you want me to do something like this in the future as well, please do let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.